Hi, I'm Leslie, the Soul Food Relationship Coach, and my goal is to empower every person who is interested in learning how to nourish their mind, body, and soul by starting with what they put in their belly. As a food relationship coach and expert, I'm often asked, well, what is the harm in eating if I'm not actually hungry? This question is particularly from people who are in a normalized weight or normalized body, but maybe they don't realize they don't feel the way that they want to feel or haven't made that connection between having the type of wellness that they want with eating when you're not hungry. Most of the time, when you eat when you're not hungry, you are trying to eat to feed something else. And that type of eating doesn't quite satisfy. So, for a great number of people, eating when you're not hungry actually begins that habit building for a pattern of eating that will change your health at a physiological level, at a cellular level, at a metabolic level. It will change because our bodies are designed to use food as fuel. Think about it. How do you fill up your car? Do you fill up your car when it is like on fumes, the gas lights on, and you're really worried that you're not going to make it to the stop? Or, I mean, and that's okay because your car noticeably needs fuel. You might even let your car get down to like a quarter of a tank and then fill it up. Or you may let it get down to a half a tank and then fill it up. Our bodies work the same way. There are certain cues that we give when we actually need food. Think about it. When your car is full, it doesn't ding, the light doesn't come on, nor do you typically stand outside your car and pump gas into a full tank to the point that it's overflowing, running out of your car onto the ground, and just being wasted, not being useful at all. Our bodies are a lot like those vehicles in that they're a vessel. They need fuel in the form of food. And when you overstuff them or when you stuff into them when they don't need it, that spills over. That food converted into macronutrients just spills over and becomes stored as fat. Too much of it can alter our body's response to blood glucose levels and affect the way our pancreas and insulin system respond. And they can also affect the way we digest food and changing those cells. And they can even affect the foods that we put in our body when we're not hungry, affects the way our brain and the hormones and neurotransmitters also respond and uptake and process that food. Scientific studies have shown that when you eat a cookie, for example, when you are actually hungry, your body is in need of fuel, your body does not get the same glucose spike or insulin spike when you're hungry and you eat that cookie than when you would eat that cookie and not be hungry at all. It changes the way your body responds to food. So without going into like really geek speak, that is one of the reasons, or a lot of the reason why it's not in the best interest of long-term wellness to eat when you're not actually hungry. And usually those type of hunger pains are emotional hunger pains. So if you are emotional or a binge eater, a lot of times binge eaters restrict and then something emotional happens and then they respond to that with binging. Or emotional eaters eat like that all the time. They eat normal amounts of food until they have that trigger event or emotion. You need to be more aware about what emotional hunger feels like and what physical hunger feels like. Because to me, that is also one of the biggest drawbacks of eating when you're not hungry. You stop recognizing your body's cues for when it's hungry as well as when it's actually satisfied or full. So, emotional hunger usually onsets very quickly, whereas physical hunger, it's gradually. You might notice, oh, it's been a couple hours, starting to feel a little hungry. You might notice a little brain fog set in. You might hear or feel a tummy growling, or you might see something or hear something about food or a smell that makes your mouth start to water. but all of that happens rather gradually. That is true physical hunger. That is your body starting to give you the signs that, hey, we would really appreciate some fuel soon. Emotional hunger, you feel mad and bam, you're hungry, but not just hungry, you're starving. And typically, part two of the same sign for emotional hunger is you're hungry and craving something in particular. When you're hungry, my father, God, I love my father. He's no longer with us, but he had this saying when we were kids, and through our life, I remembered that hunger will make a monkey eat red pepper. I have no idea where my dad was with monkeys that ate red pepper. I don't know, maybe when he was in Vietnam. But that was the saying that he used to say, hunger make a monkey eat red pepper. And of course, it was a euphemism, right? When you are truly physically hungry, you will eat whatever is available to you to eat because you are trying to satisfy a survival need. When you are emotionally hungry, you're craving and you want those donuts and nothing else will do but those donuts. That's also a sign to you that, hey, step back, because you're probably not actually hungry for food, but something else is going wrong. And just that minute or two to step back will allow you to figure out how to satisfy that particular type of need, because it's probably not going to be food. Another thing about emotional hunger is that you may feel feelings of guilt or shame around either your craving or the need to eat food, or the amount of food that you feel like you need to eat to feel satisfied. Eating for survival or sustenance does not create those feelings. You need to eat. There's nothing to feel guilty or shameful about, because literally every other human on this planet shares that same experience of needing to eat to have fuel for its body to keep it alive. So sustenance, no guilt. If you're feeling guilt or shame, maybe check in with yourself, and that there's something deeper going on that donut or bag of chips is not going to quite satisfy. Another thing, when you're physically hungry, you could quite possibly look forward to your meal, and not just the eating of it, but all aspects of it. It looks good on the plate, or you would like it to look good on the plate, and you smell it and it has that satisfaction, and you savor every bite. You are so grateful for this food and it makes you feel better, just every bite, and you savor it. Emotional hunger is often characterized by the opposite type of eating, which I call mindless eating. It's not a term I made up. It's a thing. Mindless eating. It's the type of eating that you're trying to feed an emotion with food. So you eat a whole bag of chips, and then you may realize that you can't even recall the taste of even one, right? You've eaten the whole thing and it's like, oh wait, that's gone. That's that mindless eating where you're not paying attention because you're concentrating really on something else, like the problem or the triggering event, and not on the food. So again, that's a clue to yourself that what you're eating and what you're trying to feed isn't really about food. So emotional hunger is in the heart or not in the stomach, right? It's not. So to get the problem out of your mind, you have to get the eating out of your mind. And when you have an emotional hunger or an urge to binge eat in response to an emotion, or even just restricting, really think about what you can do to delay the urge to eat or distract yourself from it. And this is where, in the age of self-care, knowing how to self-soothe, knowing how to do the things for yourself, this is just another way to highlight those opportunities for self-care. So in the description of this video, I will post a link to a freebie for you about how to know how to pick out things that will work for you. Years ago, I was told, and before I recovered from binge eating, every time you have the urge to binge eat, you should do push-ups. That didn't happen, I can say. I remember one time I actually got up to do the push-up, and I think I laid on the floor and went to sleep because I just didn't want to do the push-up at all but the sleep actually helped. And so I remember thinking, oh, there is definitely something going on with why I feel this urge to eat and what I'm missing in my life. And it was stress. It was stress that in that particular instance was stress related that had kept me from getting enough sleep. I was in grad school studying all times of night and eating to stay awake. And my body really just wanted some rest. And so that nap was really self-care that was restorative, and it was effective. And I was like, oh, I need to take better care of myself. And I remember having that breakthrough moment. So, for me, push-ups just doesn't release those feel-good hormones. For you, they might though. So this toolkit that I'm going to share with you actually gives you some examples on one page, things you can fill in and some categories. And then on the next page, it actually talks about these feel-good hormones that you are gotten into the habit of using full to try to replicate those feelings, like oxytocin or serotonin or endorphins. So it actually tells you what that hormone does and some ways that you can recreate or encourage that same release of those hormones without being food when you're not hungry. So the toolkit hopefully will be a big help to you. I'm going to drop that in the comments or in the description of this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is a new channel. I realize I think, I have like 2 subscribers right now. So join in, please subscribe. Also, leave a comment, ask a question, share some experiences, share some wins, share some lessons. We are all here to eat and fuel our bodies so that we are living our best possible life, better than the one we're having. So it would be great to have you join the community. Also in the description, I'll give a little URL to my online Facebook group where we talk, share, and support each other there. And it is called Eat Free, Live Fierce group. I will share those details with you. And I hope to see you or hear from you soon. Have a great, wonderful day. I don't know how to stop my recording. Isn't that crazy? I am so not the tech person. Anybody have tips? Also, please drop that down. There, you have a great day.